I've been trying to think about how to start this F1 video, and still not really sure how to start, but I just watched a Van Neistat video which filled me with some inspiration. So this video is Formula One, subtitle, A Link to the Past. Cue the metal. Now, when I was a kid, which is a long time ago now, Formula One was something that used to take up part of my weekend. Because my dad, if the race was on at a time during the days in the UK, we would have to stop and watch it. If it wasn't on during the time we could watch it in the UK, then no one could talk about it or even have the news on until he had watched either the highlights or the race. So he did not find out the answer. So for me, Formula One starts on the weekend. So what do I mean by the weekend? Well, my weekends, as I remember them, had a very structure. Saturdays, we get up, and again, this is complete potentially fabrication and me remembering my childhood. Basically, Saturday morning, we get up, we go into the little town where I lived in the UK, go to the library, get some books, little market, have a wander around the shops, come back. Then there would be qualifying. Sometimes. Watch qualifying, sit around, and then Mum and Dad would go and do stuff outside, and we would do stuff inside, or go outside with them, or whatever it was. And that was Saturday. Saturday night, we'd sit around and we'd watch TV. We'd watch Lovejoy and other things like that on Saturday. And then Sunday, we'd get up, go and visit both sets of grandparents. Actually, before that, we'd get up, do swimming lessons, then go and visit grandparents, and then come back, lunch, Formula One, dinner, Sunday night TV, bed, back to school. So for me, when I think of Formula One, it takes me straight back to childhood and my weekends. Now, my Formula One is the era of watching it on the good old BBC, which they had The Chain by Fleetwood Mac, which went do, 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 do. So for me, that song forever etched into the opening titles of the Formula One. It's also the era of Murray Walker and Nigel Mansell, Ayrton Senna, Alain Prost, Ferrari, McLaren, Mercedes, and that era. So that's my childhood with it. Now, I sort of kept a running interest throughout the years, but it was only when I ended up going travelling and then ended up living in Australia that I began to seriously get back into Formula One. Now, I think this is because when I was younger, I worked in a bar in a restaurant called Dakota's, and there was a guy who in the summers would come back from university and he would work there too, and his name was Will Buxton. How much of Will Buxton is true or is just myth that I have created, I do not know. But as I remember it, or I was told it, Will Buxton has always wanted to be in Formula One, or always wanted to be a Formula One journalist. And he is now the Formula One journalist. He's the guy, right? If you watch Formula One, the Formula One coverage of Formula One, you will understand. Now, so he now is, as I've just said, the Formula One journalist. But prior to that, he did 10 years, I think, working for NBC or CBS, one of the American channels, as their Formula One correspondent. And prior to that, he had a blog. He may have even had a vlog, but I think just a blog as Will Buxton, F1 journalist. And I think before that, what actually got him into Formula One was that he, and this is complete lies, Will, if you ever watch this, I don't know why you would, but maybe you could just leave a comment and tell me, that he actually bought a camper van or rented a camper van, and one summer he basically followed the F1 around Europe and just wrote about it. And from that is how he got his gig in Formula One. Now, for me, rolling upon finding Will Buxton as the reporter for F1 on YouTube is what really started making me watch the F1 coverage on YouTube again. Also, unlike when I was a kid, when F1 would be like 2 hours for the race, an hour for the qualifying, we didn't have really the free practices like they do now. Being able to watch the 2-minute or 3-minute little quick cut edits of the free practice 1, 2 and 3, and then the 7-minute qualifying, and then the 7 minutes of the race, meant that I could keep up with what was going in Formula One much more easily than if I was having to watch the race. So for me, that's when it became something that I could sort of show a longer term interest in, and that just so happened to coincide with the purchase of Formula One from Bernie Ecclestone by Liberty Media. Now, Liberty Media is an American media company. They own something else, like American football or hockey or something. Anyway, once they bought it, you saw a definite change in how Formula One was presented on the media, in the media, on the media, whatever. The joke with Formula One is always that Formula One is a sport that is participated in and watched by 50-year-old white guys in polo shirts. And I think I've noticed a very big change since Liberty Media has come on board, not only in the number of races that are happening. This year, 2022, they've got 3, maybe they've only got 2 American races this year, but next year they'll have 3 because they've got the first Vegas race of the modern era. But the presenters, you've now got Lawrence Barretto, who's definitely not a 50-year-old white guy, and I've completely forgotten her name, but there is another female presenter on the F1 who are both excellent. And I think you can see that they're really trying to diversify the market of people that watch F1, which is a great thing because the spectacle, well, it is a huge spectacle. What also plays into this is the Netflix show Drive to Survive, which has just done season 4. And, you know, potentially 4 years ago when it started, watching F1 Drive to Survive was a very niche little thing. And as it's been on more and more people have watched it, and they've really got into the personalities of not just the drivers, but actually the team principals, people like Gunther Steiner and so on and so forth. And friends of mine, actually, who have never previously had any real great interest in Formula One, have suddenly been drawn into this world of exciting politics and travel and business, and are now avid watchers. And some of them are in a fantasy F1 league with me. So that draws us to today, actually. It is Saturday, and it is the Melbourne 2022 F1 qualifying day. So qualifying 2022, the first Australian Grand Prix weekend since before the COVID outbreak, so last time was 2019. And by all accounts, it is very busy. I couldn't get tickets. I could have got very expensive tickets to go on the Friday, which is fine, but not really what I wanted to do. I went in 2016 and had no problems getting tickets. We just went for the race day, but it was good. So yes, that is my little video about Formula One. I'm still working on the structure of these videos, so please keep watching. Ooh, I better just choose what we're going to do next week. Hold on, let me just go and get a computer. Okay, here we go. So we've knocked a couple off, but 1, 2, 54. Two. Creation is what I do. So next video, creation is what I do. What will that be about? Who knows? Anyway, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, all the notification-y things. And remember, choo-choo.